Coming up on the Otago Opportunity, we're talking to Rose Gleeson, the owner of Good Good in Vogel Street, Dunedin.
This is the Otago Opportunity, a limited series look at the future of our province. I'm your host, Pauline Moore, and in this series, we're taking the policies of the Opportunity Party and moving them out of the Wellington think tank and into our own backyard here in Dunedin. Each week, we'll hear from local business owners, students, and families about how a tax reset or a citizens' assembly would actually impact their daily lives. It's not about the politics, it's about the future of the place we call home. Welcome to the Otago Opportunity.
Kia ora, and welcome to the Otago Opportunity. Joining me today is Dave Bainbridge-Zafar, the Opportunity candidate for Dunedin, and our guest Rose Gleeson, the owner of Good Good in Vogel Street, Dunedin, arguably the top burger joint in town. Welcome.
Kia ora.
Thank you. Now, Good Good is in Vogel Street in Dunedin, as I said, which is a pretty cool part of town. Can you explain, Rose, what the vibe of the restaurant is for those that haven't been there?
I've kind of started likening it to grandma grunge because there's sort of a array of old granny couches that are kind of around the side of it, but then there's like quite a cool graffiti vibe as well. So it sort of mixes like a grungy industrial with very comfortable, familiar old couches.
Excellent. That's giving us a good picture. And how long have you owned this business? How did you get into it?
So we are coming up to a year now. So I think it'll be a year in August. I had, to be honest, it's always been my dream to run a burger place. Burgers have just been my absolute favourite food forever. And I had always thought Good Good was just the coolest place in the whole entire world. It was my favourite place in Dunedin to go to. And I kind of saw it was up for sale and I thought, oh no, someone's going to ruin it. Someone's going to come along. And I thought, well, may as well give it a try myself. But thankfully we're still going pretty strong. It's been a bumpy, you can kind of see where the economy started to recover late last year and then where the economy absolutely tanked again in February. So it's been a journey, that's for sure.
But just to be clear,
we're not having cause and effect there. We're not suggesting that, Rose, your acquisition of Good Good was what led to the economy tanking. We're not saying that.
I have no idea, to be honest. Anything's possible in this day and age, Dave. Maybe it was me.
And full disclosure, Rose and I worked together at Dunedin City Council, and I do recall, Rose, you and a couple of colleagues, I think, did go on a burger tour once a week of all the different restaurants. Yeah, and you were testing out which was the best burger in Dunedin. Was the answer Good Good, or did you find a better burger?
I mean, at the time, I was always going to say Good Good. I think it's stood the test of time. It's pretty strong. I'm just trying to remember. You've got a really good memory, Dave.
I mean, I genuinely do think Good Good is. Before you bought it, I thought it was the best burger place in Dunedin, and certainly after you've owned it, I've been there a few times, and it is still, I think, the best burger place in Dunedin.
Yeah.
It's been a crazy year owning it, though. What are the biggest kind of challenges you've had since you bought the place?
Oh, well, the changeover didn't go super smoothly. I accidentally signed up for somebody else's power. So Good power got cut off. And we had to scramble to try and figure out why, because I was saying, no, I've signed up for power. I've got my account here. I'm being billed. No. And I had to contact whose power I did sign up for and tell them they had to re-sign up for the power. So yeah, there were a couple of teething issues just with the changing over of all the accounts, and I accidentally ordered, I think it was 20 kilos of mayonnaise and 20 kilos of pickles to my home address. But thankfully that got caught by staff before I got a home delivery of 20 kilos of mayo and 20 kilos of pickles. Operational wise, it's been pretty excellent. We had such a good team of staff that were carried over across the sale, and then we've just brought on some incredible new people as well, and they've just picked it up so quickly, and they work so hard, and I'm so proud of them, and they have just made the whole thing so much easier. It's sort of, we've got 2 managers at the moment, and they do an excellent job, and that's kind of how I can juggle everything with life and chaos coming at me, and sometimes ideas to bounce off, because this is my first time owning a burger bar, so sometimes I don't know if my ideas are really dumb or really good, and thankfully I have quite an honest group of staff who will tell me if maybe just sleep on that a little bit. See what you think about it tomorrow if I come up with something a bit absurd.
That seems like it's a risky thing to launch into a business if you haven't done hospo before, or so. What gave you the courage to do that?
So I used to be a chef back in the day. Yeah, so I was a chef. It's called TT now, but it used to be Pier 24.
So you have got experience.
I do have experience. Yeah, I've jumped around every possible department and career. So yes, yeah, I trained at Otago Polytechnic for 2 years to become a chef, and then I worked for 2 years in the restaurant industry, and sort of found that it was just, it had its challenges. Minimum wage back then was $13 an hour, so it's backbreaking labor, and your paycheck at the end of the day wasn't great. Sometimes you'd be doing 70-hour weeks, split shifts, losing all your weekends, smelling like fish and onions all day, every day, which is not how I wanted to spend my 20s. So I kind of, I went into the office and government, a couple of government departments. So I started off in ACC, and then I met Dave at the Dunedin City Council.
You certainly did, and you've had a really interesting career before then. And I actually read your ODT article about you buying Good earlier today, just to remind myself about the history of Rose Gleeson. So you represented New Zealand at figure skating.
Yes. Sorry.
Yeah, go on. No, tell us a little bit about that.
So the kind of figure skating I did was called synchronized skating. So it's a group of sort of 18 to 20 people on the ice at the same time, kind of just doing classical elements of figure skating, but then there's also some lifts and some, pinwheels and blocks, and doing everything all at the same time. And it's chaos and terrifying when you're in the front row and you trip and there are 6 people barreling down the ice directly behind you. So it's a less than well-known sort of branch of figure skating. I got into it kind of at the end of primary school, trained really hard, and I was lucky enough to sort of be in the year where New Zealand sent their first representative team to the World Championships. So in 2009, we packed up and went to Zagreb, which was 2 12-hour flights, and then we had a 12-hour flight to LA. So it was a 1-week training camp. So this was like a full-time training camp that we did beforehand in Auckland. Then we flew to LA, and in our sort of 12-hour stopover, I was 16 at the time. So it was a lot for a teenager, but we had a training camp there as well. So no rest for the wicked. And then we jumped on another 12-hour flight to Germany. And then we went to Zagreb in Croatia from there. So it was a lot of traveling, absolutely no sleep, and a lot of training in between. And then we came the beautiful place of, I think it was 21st out of 21 people, teens. So proudly last, but better than not going at all. And it was our first time. So,
so that was in your teens, and then as you talked about, you were a chef for a while in your kind of late teens, early 20s, I guess.
Yes.
Other things you've done, you've been in an improv troupe where I've seen you perform at the New Zealand Masters Games. You've written a children's book, which is on my bookshelf behind me.
You're my number one fan, Dave. I love this.
Do you want to tell us about your kids' book that you wrote?
That was kind of, so when my sister and I were 9 and 10, our parents kind of packed up and moved over to America for a year in the year 2001, I think it was. Yeah, 2001. So we lived in California, and back then there were no tablets, nothing to keep the kids entertained on the road trips. So our parents obviously wanting to make the most of their life in America for their 1 year that they were there for, they took us on a lot of road trips, and to keep us entertained, they would tell us the story called the Gurgle Geflankenhausens. And my sister and I were just frothed over it. It was our favorite story in the whole entire world. To be honest, I can't remember it. It was my mother improvising a lot in the front seat for probably hours at a time, and we would keep going, "Mom, Mom," and she would be exhausted and going, "No, I think it's time to rest." But yeah, so she told us many hours about the adventures of the Gurgle Geflankenhausens, and I've kind of tried to capture it as best as I could remember it, but being 33 and 9 years old at the time of storytelling, I probably haven't done it its true justice, but I've given it my own spin on it.
And you got it published at a publishing house in London or something?
London, yeah, yep.
I mean, so it's such an interesting backstory. Like I say, figure skating, chefing, writing a children's book, being in an improv troupe. You worked at ACC, the Accident Compensation Corporation. You worked at DCC, Dunedin City Council, where we worked together. You then left to go to DOC, Department of Conservation.
Yeah.
You still have you're not with Doc anymore, but you still have a full-time day job, and bought a restaurant. This big, quite well-known, Dunedin burger restaurant. You're still in your 30s.
Yeah.
What else is still on your bucket list? What else are you still going to do?
That is a great question. I was thinking about that the other day. Sort of, I've always wanted to learn to play the bass guitar, so I've been picking that up this year. And just doing kind of the garage band with my dad, who has played regular guitar pretty much his whole life, so he's absolutely stoked to have somebody to sort of jam out with. So that's kind of bass guitar will probably take me for the rest of this year and maybe a bit of next, but then after that, to be honest, I'm unsure.
You sound like you're a person who really likes a challenge frequently.
Yeah, well, I'd say it's late diagnosed ADHD. Just kind of
you're using it to your advantage.
Career to career to career to career to job to hobby to upside down this and that, and look at the shiny thing over there, let's go take a look and hyper focus and make that my personality for the next 3 years. So it's just figured you've got one life, you may as well try all of the things.
Absolutely. What's the key to a top burger?
Ooh,
or the secret? Or no, you probably can't tell us the secrets, but yeah, what makes a great burger?
Secret. It's always toasting the buns with a little bit of butter on them. That makes a huge difference, and then steaming the cheese a little bit so that it just melts perfectly while you're layering the burger up. That's kind of the two things that we do that not everywhere does, and that makes a huge difference.
And who are your customers?
Oh, we've got some pretty decent regular customers. Because of our location, we're sort of mainly in the CBD area, so we get a lot of office lunches. And then some families, but not majority families. I think we're kind of the 25 to 45 age range of Dunedin, the young professionals.
And can I ask about your burger naming? Because you've got some interesting names. You've got a Halluminati burger with halloumi in, obviously. Yeah. Great name, Halluminati. You've got a What the Foo for a tofu burger. Yeah. Another great name, What the Foo. You've got a Slam Dunk burger.
Yeah.
But then you've got a cheeseburger, a beef burger, and a chicken burger. I feel like you gave up on the naming there.
Those were the original names, and I kind of figured, I mean, that's a very valid point, to be fair. The cheeseburger is called the Vintage Cheeseburger to make it just a little bit bougie. But yeah, no, very fair point. I will take that feedback on board because you're right, they are quite dull.
And have you seen changes in business, since the fuel crisis with the war in Iran and stuff? Have you seen challenges in the hospitality sector? We've seen a couple of businesses close in Dunedin recently. A burger joint was one of them, and a couple of other hospitality businesses. Are you seeing challenges over the last few months?
Yeah, look, to be honest, we are pretty much just keeping the lights on at the moment, and that's 100% fine. I've come to terms with that. That's all it needs to do. It just needs to pay for itself and not make me bankrupt. Is the dream. But yeah, so yeah, we were having a good couple of months coming out of winter, and then gosh, it just tanked so hard when the war in Iran started. And it made me very nervous for a wee while, but everything's kind of just chugged along nicely enough that it can just pay for itself and I don't have to worry too much. And then hopefully once we get out of this glut, profit will start coming in and I can finally start paying myself, because I'm a volunteer at this point.
So what's been the problem? Is it that your prices have gone up where you've been purchasing stuff, or is it that fewer people are coming in through the door?
Definitely fewer people coming in through the door. So because hospitality margins are so slim, you really need a high volume to make profit. And because people have been spending that, extra $20-30 a week on fuel instead of little treats, which we all know and love and need, but sometimes when crises hit, you have to forego the little treats every now and then. So with kind of like a citywide impact of less people going out, less people through the door, less of that volume. So yeah, all of our sales at the moment just go towards paying wages and rent and insurance and tea towel cleaning and all of the licenses and software subscriptions that it takes to run a restaurant. So it's kind of sponged up most of our income at this point, and we're just chugging along.
Anything you wish you'd known before you started the business that you know now?
It's a good question. Because I've kind of had that industry experience of, being a chef and working the hours and doing the hard yards, there haven't been too many shocks. So I am quite fortunate in that regards. I mean, I know there are some people who have also recently bought hospitality businesses who have less experience and have kind of seen an absolutely polarizing experience of, oh my goodness, I had no idea what I was getting into. And it's always kind of heartbreaking when you do see, especially with Velvet Burger closing down, that's heartbreaking, because that was such a classic Dunedin student establishment. So it is, people would sort of ask me, competition's gone, but it doesn't make me happy or at all. It's heartbreaking.
So you network with other businesses, and do you get support from other busises? How does that work?
A few. Yeah, like you kind of get to know the neighbours a bit, and I met, I believe they're on the schedule for the podcast, but the new owner of Starfish as well. I met one of the ladies, Sarah. I think you're interviewing Ricky, is it? Yeah. So we just kind of had a good sit down and, oh my goodness, what's your experience been like? And oh gosh, this is what mine's been like. And, they're kind of quite similar experiences, but just different, different problems popping out of woodwork in different places. She didn't sign up for the wrong power account, so
nice to share that sort of thing.
Next door to Good used to be a donut place, which was a quite good kind of combo. You could go and get a lovely burger from Good and then go and grab a donut on your way out. But that closed down as well now, right? Then you've got someone else as your neighbour.
Yes, so we've got Big Lizard, who are also incredibly delicious, and I absolutely love their food. I was a huge fan, and I think, Dave, you would have seen me many times when I worked at council going to Side On.
Yep, on Moray Place where it used to be, yeah.
Yeah. Go on Moray Place for a burnt butter cookie, and a huge fan of Pizza Bar as well. And then just, their food is incredible. I absolutely love it. So it is a pretty good combo. You'll see a lot of people coming in for the burger and then the dessert as well, or like a croissant, or one of their cinnamon scrolls is probably my favourite.
And what hours are you open, Rose?
So we're open 11:30 till 2 p.m. Tuesday to Sunday. And then we are also open 5 p.m. On quieter nights we do close the kitchen at 7:30 just because it costs a lot of money to have a lot of staff just standing there waiting for no customers to come in. So we close the kitchen at 7:30 kind of on a Tuesday, Wednesday, but the restaurant is open until 8 o'clock. So on Friday, when it's absolutely pumping, Saturday night pumping, the kitchen will stay open till 8 as per our standard hours. But yeah, just on the quieter nights to kind of sponge up some of those wage costs, we have started closing a wee bit earlier, just kitchen wise, so we can get all of our stuff packed up, cleaned out, and stuff home.
Are you busier in the summer hours with more light?
Summer's definitely. It's interesting. We've seen a bit of a shift towards lunches seem a little bit busier in winter because I guess it's people going, oh gosh, I've got to leave the office. It's too cold to sit outside, so I may as well grab lunch. So there's been a slight uptick in lunches over the winter, but yeah, summer is generally a lot more.
And what about events? Do you do events at all? Or?
So, funny thing, the gigantic garage roller door that is the only entry to our business does not count as a fire exit. So our capacity is only 40, so because our fire exit is technically through Big Lizard, and it would cost a lot of money to change that. So we've pulled back on events because it is they're quite expensive events. When your cap is 40, you'd have to be spending sort of $60 to $70 per person to make it worth it. But we have a beer tasting room coming up, so the Beer Fest through OUSA have I think it's with Altitude Brewing. They're coming up. They're from Queenstown. We're just going to have I think it's 6 beers and 3 sliders from Good, just over a couple of hours. Sunday afternoon session from 2 p.m. till 5 p.m. And that'll be in sort of late July. But as far as events go, that's kind of the only one we've got booked in. We've got there's a few sort of, I guess, features that are coming up. So I've been contacted by a hot sauce brand. So we might do like a hot sauce challenge with chicken bites, just to see, bring your mates down, see if you can handle their 6 hottest sauces or whatever we end up with. So there's a few things.
That sounds like an event.
Yeah, it's not a specific. Yeah, it's kind of like it's a limited short term time thing while they're open. Yeah, yeah. So there's a few things in there.
And Rose, you talked about the challenges facing the hospitality sector, and for you, you're just trying to make sure Good doesn't make you bankrupt. You're not trying to make your millions from Good.
No.
If obviously I'm running for Parliament, and if I were in government, what would you be asking from government to make it easier for the hospitality sector?
To be honest, the one thing that kind of sticks out to me at this point, and obviously I'm very well aware of the health and safety aspect of it, but with hospitality, it's sort of known as a student job in Dunedin. So people they come here as students and then they graduate and leave, and then they move on to their sort of quote real careers after that. So it's quite difficult to get people over the age of 20 that are still kind of sticking around. And with the duty manager's license and certificates, and for us being quite a low risk, sort of, we close at 8, people generally only have 1 or 2 beers and then they're off on their way. To get a duty manager, you have to get them through the LCQ, which is a separate training, and then through the duty manager's certificate as well. So it's just, and you have to be 20 years of age. So it's kind of like there's this perpetual cycle of training, like getting people's LCQ and training people up, and they're 20 and then they turn 21 and they graduate and they leave, and then there's your duty manager gone. So you've got to kind of scramble to get it over and over again. So I don't know what the solution there is, but just making it a little bit more accessible or easier or something to just ease that pressure for me is kind of like that's the thing that's kind of front and foremost of my mind. I don't know how, but that might be a good thing for you to ponder, Dave.
Yeah, thanks. I will ponder that. And it is a problem I've heard elsewhere because is it 6 months of supervision they need to get their manager's license?
They have to be working in hospitality, in an industry, or sort of in a restaurant that serves alcohol for 6 months. They have to be 20 years of age. They have to get an LCQ, which is like, it is only a couple of $100, but then you've got to get your manager's certificate, which is a couple of $100, and then you have to keep renewing that, if they do stay around, which is, best case scenario, but a lot of the time they sort of leave hospitality quite soon after you get their manager's certificate. So that's kind of, just a bit of a hurdle.
Yeah, it's something I've heard from a few people in the industry,
Okay.
that is a challenge for people.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Rose. We've enjoyed talking to you. It sounds like, I'll need to come in and have a burger. Just one little thing. Do you have a gluten-free burger?
Oh, everything is gluten-freeable. So we are quite, we're quite strict on that. So all of our specials are so any special sauce that we have, or currently we've got the slam dunk, which has a jus that you dunk the burger in, that is gluten-free. So we check everything to make sure that pretty much everything is gluten-free. So the only gluten on site is in the buns, and we have a gluten-free bun supplier. So they come separately wrapped. They're handled in a different area, so they're on a different part of the grill to minimize the risk of cross-contamination. The chicken is gluten-free, so the fried chicken, I think it's the only place in Dunedin you can get gluten-free fried chicken. We make our own onion rings with gluten-free flour, so we make it as celiac friendly as possible.
That's amazing. So you've done that intentionally? That's,
so it was.
Yeah, that's quite something.
It was set up from sort of when I bought it, it was sort of already set up, but it's something that we've really continued, and we've had somebody from Christchurch messaging us saying, hey, I'm doing a special trip down just to try your gluten-free onion rings, because I haven't been able to have them since I've been celiac. So it's just those little moments that kind of make you go, there is a reason why we are doing this. And there's it is a couple of extra steps to go through, but at the end of the day, people should be able to eat safely.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'll be heading down there straight away.
Hopefully I'll get to see you there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rose. That's been great. Lovely talking to you.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
That's all from the Otago Opportunity today. Thanks for listening, and join us next time.
By H.Cargo, Secretary at opportunity.org.nz.